Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic and valuable coins in American history, the wheat penny. These classic Lincoln cents might look simple, but don't be fooled. Some of them are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the year and mint mark. In this video, I'll reveal which wheat pennies are the rare ones that collectors all across the United States are still searching for. So make sure you watch this video all the way through, because you might already have a valuable coin sitting right in your pocket or coin jar. And before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this video with every coin enthusiast you know, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's get started. First up, the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in American history. And today we're going to talk about why this small copper coin continues to excite collectors all across the United States. Many people still find these pennies in their change or tucked away in old jars, but few realize how special they really are. Some of these 1944 no mint mark wheat pennies are worth far more than just 1 cent. In fact, the most valuable examples have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare cases, even more. So make sure you stay tuned and listen closely, because the information in this video could help you identify one of the most valuable pennies ever made. The 1944 wheat penny was struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Denver carry a small D mint mark. Those from San Francisco carry an S. But the ones from Philadelphia have no mint mark at all. That's the one we're talking about today. The 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin that was minted in large numbers, but still holds incredible value for collectors, depending on its condition and rarity. Now, to understand why the 1944 wheat penny is so popular, we have to go back to the history behind it. During World War II, copper was a critical material used for making ammunition and war supplies. Because of that, in 1943, the U.S. Mint temporarily made pennies out of zinc-coated steel instead of copper. But in 1944, the Mint returned to using copper once again, this time from recycled shell casings collected from battlefields and training ranges. That's why the 1944 wheat penny is often called the shell case cent. It's a powerful reminder of America's wartime spirit, a small coin with a big story behind it. The coin's design features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the words, "In God We Trust," above his portrait, "Liberty" to his left, and the date, 1944, to his right. On the reverse, you'll see 2 wheat stalks curving along the sides. That's why it's called the wheat penny. And in the center, the words 1 cent, United States of America, and the motto, E Pluribus Unum. It's one of the most iconic and beloved coin designs ever produced in the United States. Even though the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion 1944 wheat pennies, not all of them are the same. Some have minting errors, while others are in exceptionally good condition, making them far more desirable to collectors. In lower grades or circulated condition, these pennies are often worth just a few cents. But once you move into higher grades, coins that have been well preserved with sharp details and original luster, the value starts to climb dramatically. For example, a 1944 no mint mark wheat penny in mint state red, MS, 65 or higher, can bring anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on its eye appeal and surface condition. But the real excitement comes from the rare era coins, and that's where things get very interesting. You see, a small number of 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on steel planchets left over from 1943. These off-metal errors are some of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents in existence. Most 1944 pennies are made of copper, but if you find one that's silver-colored and sticks to a magnet, that's a 1944 steel wheat penny, and it could be worth a life-changing amount of money. Only a few of these 1944 steel wheat pennies are known to exist, and each one is considered a numismatic treasure. One example of the 1944 no mint mark steel wheat penny sold at auction for an astonishing $180,000, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold. That's right, a 1 cent coin that once circulated in everyday change ended up selling for over $180,000. That incredible record has made the 1944 wheat penny one of the most searched and talked about coins in American coin collecting history. Collectors across the United States continue to look for these rare coins in their change, at flea markets, in inherited coin collections, and even in old coffee cans and boxes of pennies that have been sitting untouched for decades. The 1944 wheat penny, with no mint mark, remains one of the best-known coins among both beginner and expert collectors, because it's a coin that connects directly to America's World War II story. And it's also a coin that can still be found, if you're lucky. But even if you don't find the ultra-rare steel version, a regular 1944 copper wheat penny in top mint condition can also be valuable. For instance, in MS-67 red condition, one of these coins sold for more than $10,000 at auction, proving that quality and preservation truly matter in the world of numismatics. The better the condition, the higher the price collectors are willing to pay. Now let's talk about what to look for if you want to identify whether your 1944 wheat penny could be valuable. First, check the color. Is it a bright reddish copper, a deep brown, or a dull gray steel tone? If it looks silver-colored, test it with a magnet. A 1944 penny that sticks to a magnet could be a rare steel version. Next, look closely at the coin's details. If it's sharply struck with full lines and minimal wear, it's likely worth more. Also, examine the fields around Lincoln's portrait. If they're smooth and free of scratches, that's another sign of a high-grade coin. Collectors also check for die errors, like doubling on the date or the lettering. While these are much less common on 1944 pennies, any visible doubling, cracks, or striking irregularities can boost a coin's value. Every detail counts when determining how much a 1944 wheat penny is really worth. It's also important to remember that coins with original red color and minimal toning are especially prized. Over time, copper coins tend to darken and turn brown, but if a 1944 penny retains its original fiery red luster, it's likely been well preserved and stored properly. These bright red examples are always the ones that fetch the highest prices at auction. The 1944 wheat penny isn't just valuable, it's meaningful. It represents a chapter in American history when the nation was united, resourceful, and strong. Every one of these coins tells a story about wartime America, about sacrifice and recovery, and about how even the smallest everyday objects can carry great historical significance. And that's why collectors never stop looking for this coin. Every 1944 wheat penny found in a coin roll or collection carries potential. It's like holding a tiny piece of American history right in your hand. The most valuable 1944 no mint mark wheat penny ever recorded was that legendary off-metal steel cent, sold for around $180,000 at auction. Even though only a few of those exist, they remind collectors everywhere that hidden treasures still circulate among ordinary coins. For the rest of the 1944 copper wheat pennies, pristine examples in uncirculated red condition continue to sell for thousands, making this 1-cent coin a true collector's favorite. So, the next time you go through your change, take a close look at every penny you find. If you come across a 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark, don't ignore it. Check its color, check its weight, and check its condition. You never know. You might be holding one of the most valuable coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, the story of the 1944 wheat penny proves that even the smallest denomination can hold incredible value. From its history during World War II to its amazing auction records, this penny stands as a true symbol of America's strength, craftsmanship, and enduring legacy. So keep your eyes open and keep collecting, because the next valuable 1944 no mint mark wheat penny could be waiting right in your pocket. Next up, the 1951 wheat penny with the S mint mark is one of those small American coins that looks ordinary at first glance, yet carries an incredible story of value, rarity, and history. Many people still have these old Lincoln cents sitting in drawers, jars, or inherited coin collections, not realizing that a simple 1951 S wheat penny can actually be worth far more than its face value, sometimes even hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and strike. The S mint mark stands for the San Francisco Mint, one of the most respected mints in United States history. In 1951, San Francisco struck more than 136 million wheat pennies, but as collectors know, Not every coin survives in perfect condition. Most of these pennies circulated for decades, losing their shine, collecting scratches, and fading in color. But a small number were saved right after minting, untouched, bright, and fully struck. And those are the ones collectors across America are always searching for today. The 1951 S. Lincoln Wheat cent carries the classic design by Victor David Brenner, featuring the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Above his head reads, "In God We Trust," with the word liberty on the left side and the year, 1951, on the right. Just below the year is the tiny S mint mark, and that's what identifies this coin as being struck in San Francisco. On the reverse, the coin displays the famous two wheat stalks curving inward along the sides with the words 1 cent and United States of America in the center, along with the motto, E pluribus unum. The design itself is simple yet powerful, and it's one of the most beloved designs in U.S. coin history. The wheat penny design was first issued in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday, and by 1951, it had already become a symbol of American pride and tradition. Collectors love the series because it tells the story of the 20th century, from the Great Depression to World War II and beyond, all through small copper coins that have survived the test of time. Now, when we talk about the value of the 1951 S wheat penny, condition is everything. A heavily circulated example, the kind you might still find in an old penny jar, is usually worth around 3 to 10 cents. But if your coin is in better shape, say, a bright red or red-brown color with sharp details, it can easily bring several dollars. The real excitement, though, comes with high-grade uncirculated examples, those that have never been used, handled, or damaged. A mint state 1951 S wheat penny with full red luster and no visible marks can sell for hundreds of dollars. Collectors particularly look for coins graded MS 66 red or MS 67 red, which are the top levels of preservation for this date. These coins shine with a fiery copper color, sharp details in Lincoln's hair and coat, and strong definition in the wheat stalks on the reverse. According to major coin auction records, one of the finest known 1951 S wheat pennies in pristine MS 67 plus red condition sold for an incredible $9,200 at auction. Yes, over $9,000 for a 1 cent coin. That's the highest price ever recorded for a 1951 S wheat penny, and it shows just how much collectors are willing to pay for beauty, rarity, and perfection in the world of U.S. coins. Think about that for a moment. A single penny struck in San Francisco in 1951, originally worth just 1 cent, sold for thousands of dollars simply because it was perfectly preserved. That's the magic of coin collecting. Condition transforms something ordinary into something extraordinary. Now, what makes some 1951 S wheat pennies more valuable than others? It comes down to a few key factors: strike quality, color, luster, and preservation. Many coins from the San Francisco Mint during the early 1950s had slightly weaker strikes compared to those from Denver or Philadelphia, meaning the details weren't always sharp. So if you find a 1951 S penny with full detail in Lincoln's hair and strong wheat lines on the reverse, that's already a sign that your coin might be a cut above average. Color is another big factor. Collectors classify copper coins by their tone: red, red-brown, or brown. The redder the coin, the higher its value. A fully red 1951 S wheat penny that still shines like it did the day it was minted is the kind of coin that gets attention at auctions. Red-brown coins, which have partial toning but still retain some luster, are worth less, and fully brown coins, while still collectible, usually bring more modest prices. Let's also talk about errors and varieties, because these can turn an ordinary coin into something special. While the 1951 S isn't known for major dramatic errors, a few have been found with die cracks, minor doubling, and repunched mint marks, where the S was stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. These varieties can add extra value, sometimes turning a $10 coin into a $50 or even $100 piece. For collectors, small details like these are everything. That's why they carefully examine every coin under magnification, looking at the S mint mark area, the date, and the lettering for any signs of doubling or overpunching. If you ever come across a 1951 penny that looks slightly different, maybe the mint mark looks thicker or shadowed, it might be worth having it checked, because rare die varieties can command premium prices. Another thing that adds to this coin's charm is its historical context. The year 1951 was a post-World War II era in America, a time of rebuilding, optimism, and change. Coins from this time carry a certain nostalgic feel. They represent the mid-century strength and confidence of the United States. Holding a 1951 wheat penny is like holding a small piece of that American story. Even though billions of wheat pennies were made over the decades, each one has its own character and journey. Some were used in daily life for years, buying candy, newspapers, or gasoline. Others were tucked away by careful savers who appreciated their design. That's why collectors still feel a deep connection to wheat pennies. They're more than coins. They're history in the palm of your hand. Now, let's go back to the subject of value at auction. The most valuable 1951 wheat penny, as mentioned earlier, sold for around $9,200, and it achieved that price because of its flawless condition, deep red color, and immaculate strike. Coins like that are incredibly rare, with perhaps only a handful existing in that grade. But even if your 1951 wheat penny isn't perfect, it could still be worth a surprising amount. Mint state examples in lower grades like MS 63 red or MS 64 red often sell for $20 to $50, and those in MS 65 red can bring $100 or more, especially if the color is strong and even. For collectors who love roll searching or checking pocket change, the 1951 is a favorite date to look for. Because San Francisco stopped minting pennies after 1955, coins with the mint mark from the early 1950s have become more and more desirable. Each year that passes makes pristine examples harder to find, and that scarcity helps drive up prices. It's also worth mentioning that the wheat penny series ended in 1958, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. So the 1951 wheat penny belongs to the final decade of the wheat cent design, making it one of the last pieces of an American classic. Many collectors strive to complete full sets of wheat pennies, and they often need high-quality examples of late-date coins, like the 1951 to finish their collections, which is another reason these coins hold strong value in the market. If you ever come across a 1951 wheat penny, take a close look. Notice the color, the shine, the details, and the small s beneath the date. If it still has its original luster, you may be holding something truly valuable. Even circulated examples tell a story worth preserving, but uncirculated ones are what collectors dream about. So whether you're checking old family change, searching coin rolls, or visiting antique stores and flea markets, always keep your eyes open for this coin. The 1951 wheat penny continues to surprise collectors across the country. It's a symbol of mid-century America, of craftsmanship, and of how something so small can carry both monetary and historical value. To this day, it stands as one of the most collected coins from the 1950s, and because of its affordability in lower grades and potential for huge value in higher grades, it appeals to both beginners and advanced collectors alike. And when we remember that its highest auction price reached over $9,000, it proves that even the smallest piece of copper can become a treasure in the world of numismatics. So always take a careful look at your change, because you never know when a valuable 1951 wheat penny might appear in your hands, waiting to tell its story and maybe even change your luck forever. Next up, the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of those fascinating pieces of American history that most people have held at some point without realizing how valuable it can actually be. This little copper coin may look simple, but it carries a story that connects directly to the end of World War II and to a time when the United States was changing forever. Many collectors across America and around the world are still searching for the perfect 1945 wheat penny, especially those struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the ones without any mint mark below the date. When you see a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark, that means it was made in Philadelphia, the main minting facility of the United States. These coins were part of the last wartime issues before America moved into a period of peace and prosperity. Even though the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies that year, over 1 billion wheat pennies in total across all mints, the condition, color, and small variations can make an enormous difference in value. The 1945 No Mint Mark wheat penny features the familiar design created by Victor David Brenner. On the front, or obverse, is the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most iconic figures. Above him, the words "In God We Trust" remind U.S. of national faith and unity. To the left is the word liberty, symbolizing freedom, and to the right is the date, 1945. Since this version was made in Philadelphia, you'll notice there's no mint mark below the date. That's what makes it the no mint mark variety, the classic Philadelphia issue. On the reverse, or back of the coin, you'll find two stylized wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one. This wheat design gives the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny, or wheat cent. Now, what makes the 1945 No Mint Mark wheat penny so valuable? It's all about condition, color, rarity in higher grades, and collector demand. This coin was made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, and because copper reacts to the environment, many of these coins darkened, toned, or corroded over time. That's why finding one in brilliant, original red color is so rare. Collectors classify copper coins in three main color categories: red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN. A full red example means the coin still looks as it did when it left the mint nearly 80 years ago. Most of the 1945 wheat pennies that survive today are in circulated condition. These are coins that were used in everyday life, in stores, vending machines, and pay phones throughout the late 1940s and beyond. A circulated 1945 No Mint Mark wheat penny in average condition might only be worth around 3 to 10 cents, but don't let that fool you. The true value lies in those high-grade, uncirculated examples that have survived without wear or damage. Uncirculated coins, often called mint state coins, can range from MS 60 all the way up to MS 67 or higher. As the grade goes up, the value skyrockets. For example, a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark graded MS 65 red can be worth between $15 and $30. At MS 66 red, the value often rises to around $75 to $150. But once you get into the rarest category, those flawless coins graded MS 67 red, the value can easily exceed $1,000 or more. And that brings us to the most exciting part, the record-breaking auction sale. The highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1945 No Mint Mark wheat penny is an incredible $14,400 for a single coin graded MS 67 plus red. That's $14,400 for 1 cent. A truly stunning result for a coin that once passed through American hands in daily life. Now imagine how amazing it would be to find one of those coins yourself. Maybe tucked away in an old coin jar, in a family collection, or even inside a forgotten penny roll. It's not impossible. People have discovered valuable 1945 wheat pennies in circulation before. What makes those rare examples stand out is their brilliant luster, perfect strike, and the absence of any marks or discoloration. Let's talk about why this coin matters historically. The year 1945 was a turning point for the United States and the world. World War II ended that year, and millions of American soldiers returned home. The U.S. Mint had used steel for pennies in 1943 to conserve copper for war supplies, but by 1945, the Mint had gone back to using copper again. So this coin represents the return to normal life, a symbol of victory, peace, and rebuilding. The 1945 wheat penny, without a mint mark, also reminds us of the incredible craftsmanship of the Philadelphia Mint. Each coin was carefully struck using engraved dies, and though the technology was simpler than today's, the results were beautiful. Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, and the wheat stalks were bold and deeply impressed, creating a design that collectors still admire today. Collectors look for a few specific things when identifying valuable examples of the 1945 No Mint Mark wheat penny. First is strike sharpness. A strong strike means that the fine details, like the lines in Lincoln's hair and beard, are crisp and clear. Weakly struck coins are less desirable. Second, surface condition matters. Marks, spots, or scratches can drastically lower a coin's grade, and therefore its value. Third, the color and luster are crucial. Full red coins that shine like new are the most valuable. Some collectors also search for errors and varieties among 1945 pennies. While there are no major known varieties for this date, minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or doubled letters can make a coin more valuable. Even small errors that might seem insignificant can add uniqueness and demand in the collector market. Now, the 1945 no mint mark wheat penny was minted in huge numbers. Over 1,040,515,000 coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint that year. That might sound like a lot, but keep in mind that very few survived in top condition. The majority entered circulation immediately and were used for years. That's why coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated state are so rare and valuable today. One of the most impressive things about the wheat penny series is its connection to American life. For generations, children collected wheat pennies, saving them in blue Whitman coin folders. They were coins people could find in pocket change and collect without spending much. That connection makes the 1945 issue even more special. It's a coin that ordinary Americans touched during extraordinary times. When you hold a 1945 wheat penny, you're holding a piece of history from a time when gas was cheap, cars were made of steel, and American soldiers were returning home heroes. Every single coin like this tells a story, not just about money, but about the spirit of a nation. Even if your 1945 penny doesn't look perfect, it still has historical value. Many collectors build complete sets of wheat pennies, and they need the 1945 Philadelphia issue to complete the collection. Because of that steady demand, even average examples have steady market value. Let's talk again about that record-breaking auction sale, because it's one of the highlights for collectors. The coin that sold for over $14,400 was described as having full original red color, a razor-sharp strike, and immaculate surfaces. It was one of the finest known examples. That shows how critical preservation is. The difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth over $14,000 can come down to how well it was stored and handled. Coins like that are usually stored in controlled environments, away from air, moisture, and light, to preserve their original copper color. Collectors sometimes use archival safe holders and capsules to protect their best pieces. That's why some 1945 wheat pennies still look freshly minted even after 8 decades. The appeal of the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark isn't just in its value. It's also in its symbolism. It represents the end of one era and the start of another. It reminds us of the strength and unity of the American people during and after the war. And it reminds collectors that sometimes the most ordinary coins carry the most extraordinary stories. If you happen to come across a 1945 no mint mark wheat penny, take a closer look. Examine the details under good lighting. Check for that rich copper red color and see if the coin shows minimal wear. If it looks sharp, it could be worth more than you think. And remember, even if it's not a $14,000 coin, it's still a valuable part of American numismatic history. Collectors love the 1945 wheat penny because it's accessible, historical, and full of potential surprises. Whether you're a beginner just learning about Lincoln wheat cents or an advanced collector hunting for high-grade examples, the 1945 no mint mark issue is a coin that belongs in every collection. From a humble 1-cent coin to a multi-$1,000 collectible, the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark proves that age, history, and condition can turn something ordinary into something truly extraordinary. Its highest auction price of $14,400 stands as proof that even the simplest American coins can be worth a small fortune when preserved perfectly. So, the next time you come across a 1945 penny, don't overlook it. Check it carefully, appreciate its history, and remember, this tiny piece of copper could be one of the hidden treasures of your collection. Next up, the 1952 wheat penny with the D mint mark is one of the fascinating treasures of American coinage that collectors love to study, find, and preserve. Many people have come across this little copper coin in an old coin jar or inherited collection without realizing that it could actually be worth a surprising amount of money. It's one of those coins that seems common at first glance, but becomes increasingly valuable when found in the right condition. The 1952 wheat penny was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The D mint mark below the date on this coin tells us that it was struck at the Denver Mint, a facility known for producing large quantities of coins with sharp details. In total, the Denver Mint produced over 746 million wheat pennies in 1952. That may sound like a huge number, but when we consider how few have survived in pristine, mint state condition, the truly valuable ones become very rare indeed. On the obverse, or front, of the 1952 D wheat penny, we see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image first appeared on U.S. 1-cent coins in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. It's a design that became instantly recognizable to Americans everywhere. Above Lincoln's head are the words, "In God We Trust." To the left is liberty, and to the right is the date 1952, followed by that small D mint mark, a mark that connects the coin to the hard-working Denver Mint. The reverse, or back, of the coin carries the classic wheat ears design, which gives the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. 2 wheat stalks curve gracefully along the sides of the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, written across the top. This simple, elegant design stood for America's strength and unity through some of its most historic decades. The 1952 D wheat penny was struck in the years following World War II, a time when the United States was growing rapidly, both economically and culturally. Copper was once again the main metal for pennies, made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving the coins their distinct reddish-brown color. Over time, these coins have toned and aged, developing rich shades of red, brown, or red-brown, colors that significantly affect their value today. Collectors classify copper coins based on color: red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN. The redder the coin, the more valuable it is, because that bright, original mint color shows it has been preserved perfectly for decades. The 1952 D wheat penny that still shines with its full original red color is considered rare and highly collectible. Let's talk about value, because that's what truly excites collectors and viewers alike. Most circulated 1952 D wheat pennies, those that have been used in daily transactions, are quite common. They're usually worth around 3 to 10 cents, depending on condition. However, once we move into uncirculated condition, coins that never entered circulation and show no wear, the value begins to increase quickly. A 1952 D wheat penny in mint state, MS 63. Condition is often worth between $1 and $3, while a nicer example graded MS 65 red can bring $15 to $30. Once we step into the truly top grades, such as MS 67 red, the value soars into the hundreds. And now, let's reveal the truly exciting number, the highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1952 D wheat penny. The record price stands at an astonishing $9,200. Paid for a stunning example graded MS 67 plus red by a leading coin grading service. That's right, a single 1-cent coin from 1952 sold for more than $9,000 because it was preserved in perfect, glowing condition with flawless surfaces and sharp details. That single sale shows why condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. Most 1952 D wheat pennies were used in daily life, showing wear and losing their original luster. But a few coins, often saved by collectors soon after minting, retain their bright red color, smooth surfaces, and precise details. Those are the coins that command incredible prices today. Collectors who search for valuable 1952 D wheat pennies look carefully for strong strikes, clean fields, and vibrant color. A strong strike means that the fine details in Lincoln's hair and coat, as well as the lines in the wheat stalks on the reverse, are sharp and distinct. Weakly struck coins, or coins with dull color, typically bring less value. Even minor differences can make a huge impact. A single tiny mark, nick, or dull spot can reduce a coin's grade and drop its value dramatically. That's why the record-setting example was such a standout. It was nearly perfect in every way. A true gem among hundreds of millions. The story of the 1952 Dewey penny is also tied closely to the American experience of the early 1950s. This was a time when families were moving into new homes, cars were becoming symbols of freedom, and television was changing entertainment forever. Coins like this penny passed through the hands of Americans during an era of hope, prosperity, and national pride. Holding one today feels like holding a small piece of that history. The Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, remains one of the most popular U.S. coin series ever made. Collectors love it because it's affordable to start and full of hidden gems that can turn into valuable finds. The 1952 D issue is a perfect example of that. Most people think it's common, but the rare high-grade examples can bring thousands at auction. If you're looking for these coins, pay close attention to a few details. Look for the D mint mark under the date. It should be bold and clear. Examine the color under good lighting. A bright, even copper red tone is the most desirable. If the surfaces are smooth, free of marks, and the coin shows no signs of wear, you may have something truly special. Some collectors also look for minor mint errors on the 1952 D Wheat penny. These can include small die cracks, off-center strikes, or even repunched mint marks, where the D was accidentally stamped more than once during production. While not all of these errors are dramatic, they add uniqueness and can raise a coin's value among variety collectors. Over the years, the 1952 D Wheat penny has remained a favorite among both beginners and experts. Beginners love it because it's affordable and easy to find in starter collections. Experts value it for its challenge. Finding one in perfect red condition is extremely difficult, and that's what makes it valuable. The Denver Mint produced billions of coins during the 1950s, but only a handful of them survive today, in gem condition. Every time one of those high-grade coins appears at auction, collectors compete fiercely for it. That's exactly what happened with the record-breaking 1952 D Wheat penny that sold for over $9,000. It's also worth noting that the 1952 D Wheat penny is part of the last decade of the wheat design. In 1959, the reverse design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial, marking the end of an era in U.S. coinage. That makes these later wheat pennies even more meaningful to collectors who appreciate the artistry and symbolism of the earlier design. The reverse with the two wheat ears represents agricultural strength and abundance, while Lincoln's image symbolizes leadership and unity. Together, they make the wheat penny one of the most American coins ever made. When you come across a 1952 wheat penny with the D mint mark, take a closer look. It might look like an ordinary coin, but if it has full original red color, sharp details, and no visible wear, it could be worth far more than you imagine. Even coins in mid-grade uncirculated condition can bring steady collector demand, but the very best examples are the true treasures. Imagine discovering one of those nearly flawless coins, a gleaming 1952 D Wheat penny with glowing red luster that hasn't faded for over 70 years. That's the kind of coin collectors dream of finding, and it's the reason this hobby is so exciting. The story of this coin isn't just about money. It's about history, preservation, and appreciation for detail. Every coin has a story, and this one tells the story of post-war America and the Denver Mint's dedication to craftsmanship. To recap the most important part, the highest recorded auction price for a 1952 D Wheat penny is $9,200 for a mint state 67 plus red example, a remarkable price for a coin that once circulated as a simple cent. That sale proves that condition, rarity, and historical significance can transform a humble 1-cent coin into a valuable collectible. So if you ever find a 1952 D Wheat penny, don't overlook it. Check the surfaces, color, and details carefully. You might just be holding a piece of American history, and possibly a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The 1952 D Wheat penny continues to fascinate collectors, not only for its beauty and symbolism, but for its potential hidden value. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest stories, and that even a penny can be priceless when preserved in perfection. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you thought these wheat pennies were cool, wait till you see my last video on Jefferson nickels. Some of those coins are worth serious money. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and share this video with your coin-loving friends. And drop a comment down below. Tell me what rare coins you found lately. I love reading your stories. Alright, that's it for today. Keep checking your change, because you never know when a penny might make you rich.